Um, we are here today to discuss about how to ace the admissions process, critical thinking and personal interview at IMT. This webinar is going to address the CTPI process for the year 2025. And we have with us our panelists, Professor Dr. Vinay Kumar Kalakbandi and Professor Pavan Kumar Balewada from IMT Hyderabad. And we have with us three students who will very soon introduce themselves. I'll give a very short and brief introduction about our esteemed panelists. Professor Vinay Kumar Kalakpandi is the associate professor. He's also chairperson programs. He's in operations management area at IMT Hyderabad. He holds a fellow of IIM Bangalore and he's an MTech from IITB. He is the recipient of the prestigious Emerging Economies Doctoral Student Award instituted by Production and Operations Management Society. At IMT Hyderabad, Professor Vinay teaches courses on service operations management, retail supply chain management, technology, and operations strategy. He spends his spare time engaging with his extended student community on Instagram, creating content, relating with operations, human behavior, and teaching life as it happens. Our next faculty is Professor Vinay Kumar Professor Pavan Kumar Balewada. He is an assistant professor in human resource management at IMT Hyderabad. He is a PhD from IIT Kharagpur, and he was awarded the gold medal in 2008 for best management thesis of the year at IIT Kharagpur. He has worked both in the industry as well as in academics for more than a decade, and he's an alumnus of Stanford University. He's also trained by Harvard Business School in case teaching and writing. He has published and presented research papers in international and national journals and conferences and edited various books. Dr. Kumar is actively engaged in executive training and management consultancy in industry and government. He has handled programs for the National Industrial Security Academy, Hyderabad, district collectors and PDS officers of Chhattisgarh, agricultural officers in Odisha, Royal Audit Authority, Bhutan, and corporate houses like Ramki Group, RBI, Phoenix Group, Aurobindo Pharma, and Realty, BFIL, to name just a few. I would request our students to please switch on their videos and introduce themselves. Aniket, Ghosh, Anushi, and Sai. Yes, please unmute
Everyone.
yourself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Anushi, and I'm currently enrolled in PGDM General at IMT Hyderabad. I'm a first-year student.
Sai.
Hello everyone, I'm Sai Kandre and I'm currently pursuing PGDM Finance from IMT Hyderabad. I'm also a first year student.
Aniket. You're on mute, Aniket.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aniket Ghosh. I'm currently pursuing PGDM core and I'm currently first year at IMT Hyderabad.
So we will start again. Professors, please take the lead and we can start the discussion on how to ace the CTPI process at IMT.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Namaskar. So I would just show you a small presentation on IMT. So give me a moment. Let me share. The PPT with you. So is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is
Yes, sir.
visible.
Okay, so as you all know that IMT has three campuses. We all operate together. We have a common admissions process. So this particular webinar is applicable to all the campuses that IMT has. So if we talk about the legacy of IMT, it's started in 1980 at the city of Ghaziabad. So the IMT Ghaziabad is very well known in not only the corporate world throughout India, but all over the world. It is well known in the management area, and we are only present as B schools. The whole IMT group has only B schools, and it ensures that it creates an impactful uh, management practice managers and entrepreneurs who can take the corporate world to greater heights. We as an IMT have smart campuses across the globe in Ghaziabad, Nagpur, Hyderabad, and Dubai. And if we talk about the facilities, they are all very they have very good facilities with deep corporate connect that we have. We also have a good international MOUs with good international universities where we exchange our students. Our students go there and do certain credits. Their students come to our campuses and do certain credits. So, as I told you, we have the first campus, which is IMT Ghaziabad. It started in 1980. Then IMT Nagpur started in 2005. IMT Dubai came in 2009, and IMT Hyderabad is the latest campus in the IMT group. It started in 2011, and all of them have a good locational advantage if we talk about the places where they are currently. If I talk about the eligibility criteria, um, we follow the eligibility criteria that AICTE recommends. So any the bachelor's degree in any discipline with a minimum 50% marks, in throughout the bachelor's is what we look at. The test scores that we accept as IMT group is CAT, ZAT, and GMAT. For this year, CAT 2024 scores are taken, ZAT 2025 scores are taken, and GMAT scores last 5 years score is considered starting from Jan 1st, 2021 to the latest one, Jan 26, 2025. If when we talk about CMAT 2025, only one campus, IMT campus, accepts CMAT, which is IMT Nagpur. And thankfully, this year CMAT is happening, timely. So uh, the interviews along with the CADS at GMAT, the CMAT interviews would can might also take place. When we talk about work experience, of course, according to AICT mandate, work experience is not mandatory, but yes, work experience will have certain advantage for the students who are applying and having a good amount of work. They will have an edge over others. Otherwise, any student who is in their final year of the graduation or who has completed the graduation can apply uh, for any IMT campus. The Right now, IMT Common application portal is open. It will be open till January 24th. So any student who's applying through the common portal has a chance to apply or prefer any campus of his or her choice in IMT. After Jan 25th, the campus specific applications for Hyderabad and Nagpur will be open from Jan 24th, where the student will have only chance to apply for the respective campuses. If we talk about the common admission process, you have to register yourself online through the common admission portal. And once you register yourself, it'll ask for your email ID and phone number. Once you do it, it'll take you to the application page where there will be the uh, personal details that you have to give in, which we call PD. So there, all the academic related details will be asked, and the test that you're appearing for, and its registration number is what it is asked. So you can fill it up and finally make a payment of 3,500 rupees, which is the application fees, and you can rest assured wait for the CTPI call from from IMT. If I talk about the selection process happens in two stages. The first stage, after you finish your, after you get a call from IMT, there is something called critical thinking test. We call it CT. This critical thinking test is nothing but it's a kind of essay writing test where a topic would be given to you. So you have to write for or against on that topic, or you have to just put in your opinion on that topic. So it'll be typically, it'll be of 300 or 500 words that you have to restrict yourself to. Then once your critical test is done, you will be asked one by one to attend the personal interview, or you would be sent to the panelists who will be taking your personal interviews. So basically, this is what the whole CTPI process that we call is all about. And we are conducting the CTPI process in 14 cities, namely Ghaziabad, New Delhi, Kolkata, Lucknow, Patna, Jaipur, Nagpur, Mumbai, Indore, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Kochi. So after you fill up your applications, and once you get a call, get a CTPI call, basically before getting a CTPI call, while you are filling up your PD details, you will be asked to also opt for one of the centers. So there are two preferences, first and second preference. And as you know, that if there are more students in one center, we will then, um, you know, uh, we'll see that if your second option can be taken care of or not. But you have to give an option of the interview cities where you want to attend the interviews. One thing I want to alert all of you, that be careful when you are giving your choices, either for interview cities or for your course choice or for your campus choice, because once you have given those choices, once it is frozen, once you click on the submit button, uh, you will not get an option to change your mind. So whatever you're filling up, you rest assured first, um, confirm yourself that this is what you're going to do. This is where the city that you are going to attend your interviews. This is the course that you want to do, and this is the campus that you want to select. So do it beforehand so that you won't get into the trouble of not uh, updating the details. So this is what I wanted to, just make you aware of the IMT common admission process, or you can say the CTPI process. Now, I would like to hand it over to the students to, to take up some of the questions that the students might have asked. Before that, sir, I want to ask Vinay sir if he wants to add something which I might have. Missed out on curiosity, sir.
Yeah, I think broadly about critical thinking and personal interview, how you have to navigate both of these processes, that is something that is, I think, also coming up in the chat. Critical thinking, just to clarify, is there is a topic that is given to you, and this is typically not a straightforward topic, but a slightly counterintuitive, a challenging topic that is controversial and things like that. And you will have to write, around 250, 300 words about that particular topic, your position. So, you wouldn't have ChatGPT to generate things. You have to write it with your hand. So that is something that and you will have to write it on the fly on the day just before your interview. So that's something that gets a bit challenging. So it's good if you just practice some amount of writing with your hand. It's not typing, but it's just writing with your hand. And we usually see a lot of very bad handwriting. So please, please ensure that you're writing legibly and writing in a very structured manner. It is essential that you write your critical thinking exam in a manner that could really be utilized during your PI. That gives the interviewers some kind of hooks that could be utilized, during the interview to talk about, right? So as you navigate your personal interview, it is necessary that you orchestrate the interview to be more and more in your comfort zone, and writing a good critical thinking essay would definitely help. What is the timing for critical thinking, Professor Pawan? 20 minutes, 15 minutes? So you're on mute.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I was on mute. So it is basically 25 to half an hour, so
Okay.
25 minutes to half an hour that
Okay.
this CT happens.
Yes.
Um, so if there are any questions that the students have, we are ready to answer.
Yeah. So that is about critical thinking.
Yeah.
After that, you move on to the personal interview. So you would have undergone a lot of interventions on how to do your personal interview. At the end of the day, what we are looking at, so we have, a combined experience of, I mean, we have quite a bit of experience interviewing a lot of students. What we see is a lot of homogeneity. That is, all look the same. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur in the long run. Everybody has an NGO experience. Everybody has, been a part of a college fest that they have, managed and all of that. So try to see what are ways in which you could really stand out, and that should be how you introduce yourself. And those are the topics that we will again pull out from your introduction, and the rest of the interview will fundamentally be based on your introduction that you will be giving, which to the extent possible keep it unhinged, keep it really standing out of the crowd, and that would really help. So the interviews typically last around 10, 15 to 20 minutes. And we are looking for a holistic perspective of the students. That is, we are just not looking at someone who's really focused, but has a lot of overall understanding of current affairs, what's happening with the financial world, what is happening with the economy, and them to have very good, I mean, they're a very well-rounded opinions about businesses, about business practices, about workplace and all of that. So that is how we are judging your critical thinking and personal interview exams. So yeah, so that's something that I wanted to add to the with regard to the selection process on the DE day, whenever that happens, when we will all get to meet you. Please keep all of these things in mind.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. I think this might have given a very good input for all the prospective students who are who were actually in a flux that how to prepare for CTE, what is the CTE all about, and all those stuff. So good that sir has given or highlighted some of the things that you need to keep in mind before you get into the CT and PI. So over to you, Aniket.
Yes, thank you, Professor Pawan. So there have been a few questions from many of the students. I'll try to cover as much as possible in this session.
Okay.
So students mostly asked about the pattern of the CTPI process. So let me give you all a quick idea about what happens in a CTPI process. The CTPI stands for critical thinking and personal interview, wherein after you get the interview date, you would be, as Professor Vinay stated, you would need to be very aware about the current affairs, what is going on in the world nowadays. So you would be given a written ability test under the critical thinking part, wherein you guys would need to real time write an essay about the topic that is given to you. After which, based on shortlist, you would be having the personal interview with the professors, wherein you would be having two panelists per room, wherein the interview will be mostly based on everything that you have presented about yourself while applying at IMT Hyderabad. So another question coming out of here is people who do not have WorkX, how do they answer, or what questions they probably can get, since they do not have much to write about the CV apart from the academics. So ensure that you're really focused on what you write in terms of your interests and hobbies apart from the academics in your CV and the profile detail form that we roll out. So questions will be mostly based on that and what interests you have, what subjects you like, how well have you been performing academically or not. For people who are having relevant work experience and have been showcasing that in the profile detail form, uh, be ready with everything that you have worked on, the company that you have worked on, what work does the company do, what are the future prospects of the companies, where does the company invest. So these things are very important when you are having a work ex, that you know about the company that you worked on, the role that you have worked in. So this is briefly how your CTPI would go, or you can expect your CTPI to go for the upcoming interviews.
So all the students who are watching this video, this is right from the horse's mouth. These guys have faced CTPI, they faced those questions. So, whatever they are saying is out of their experience. Okay. Yeah. Any other question?
Yes,
So we have some questions in the YouTube live segment, and most of the questions that most people are asking is when do they expect a call for CTPI? Around what time are they going to get this call? And another question is the call going to come after the ZAT cutoff or not? If you can answer this question.
Okay, so coming to your second question, whether it'll come after the ZAT, yes, because our criteria, the selection criteria or the test scores that we take is from CAT, ZAT, and GMAT. So of course, after the ZAT results are out, you will be asked to also update your ZAT scores, if any, and then your CTPI calls will be sent if you're shortlisted. So you can expect the CTPI call somewhere, in the last week of Jan, where you might, if you're selected, if you're shortlisted, you'll be getting the call. So somewhere in the last week of Jan. Yes.
Another question is what are the tentative dates for the CTPI?
Okay, so the CTPI as of now, the tentative dates, we can only talk about tentative dates. So it might start on 7th of Feb, and during the time 7th of Feb to 26th of Feb. So this is the time duration when you will have this CTPI in the 14 cities that we conduct. These are only tentative dates. Yeah.
There's another question where a lot of students are asking, about reservations. And they're saying that I have X score and I'm a general candidate. I have X score, I'm an OBC candidate. So can you please clarify this part about reservations?
Okay, when it comes to reservation, of course, we don't have any specific, quota, reservation quota for the candidates. But yes, we have scholarships because you're talking about reservation. We have scholarships where we look at the meritorious students, the student meritorious in the sense that the students who have scores of more than 90 percentile in CAT and XAT and more than 650 score in GMAT, they get 40% waiver on their tuition fees. And the students who have who are economically weak, when we say economically weak, uh, it is in the AICT itself, it is mentioned that your family income should be equal to or less than 8 lakhs per annum. So if it is there, then we basically give 100% tuition fee waiver for those candidates. But if we talk about the categories, no, we don't entertain or we don't have such category for the students.
I think these are most of the questions. They are very repetitive, but broadly, these are the questions. We also have a lot of questions on placements, but I think that the placements
Correct.
related any query, it's there on our website.
Hmm.
The placement report is out there on our website, so they can check. So it would be really great if you can, give out some do's and don'ts for the CTPI day. I mean, on the day of the CTPI, what are
Hmm.
they supposed to carry with them? What are they supposed to do? What they're not supposed to do? Things like this.
Okay, so I think the students also have some of the questions, some of the queries that they get frequently from the candidates. So one of the questions that they had was, what is the timelines, or what is it like the whole day during that CTPI? So when we talk about CTPI, your CTPI is divided into two sessions, basically. So you would be asked to choose a slot either pre-lunch or post-lunch. So any one slot that you can book for CTPI. So if you are booking a slot pre-lunch, then you are asked to um, to report to the specific center, whatever center you've opted for. You have to be there by 8 a.m. in the morning. Even though we say you have to report by 8 a.m., I would suggest the candidates to be there beforehand, before 8. It will be helpful if you are there by 7:30, 7:45, because when you arrive there, then you will be redirected to the verifiers who would verify all the documents that you bring in. And once you are through to that verification, you would then be redirected to a hall where the CT or the critical test will be conducted. So for morning session, usually the CT happens at 9 a.m., and for afternoon session, it typically happens at around 1 o'clock. Okay. Uh, Once your CT is done, so half an hour CT is what you will get. So once your CT is done, you will then be redirected to the respective panels. So your panel will be decided at the time of verification itself. So when your documents are verified, you will be assigned, one of the panels. So according to that panel number, you will be redirected to those panels, and the interview would start for morning session. It would start latest by 9:45 a.m. And for the afternoon session, it starts at 2 p.m. Right? So once your interviews are done, you need not to stay back at the campus. You can leave immediately, because we will be intimating you, maybe um, in the due course of time after you're done with your CTPI. So there's no need to stay back. So as soon as your CTPI is done, you can leave or explore the campus if you're, having CTPI in the campus itself. Did that answer your question, Angela?
Yes, sir. We have a lot of people on live who are asking us, is there any sectional cutoff or not? And what is the cutoff? So if you can, address this.
Okay, at present, the cutoffs basically are decided in the due course of time. So we can't talk about cutoffs, but any student who has 75 or above percentile in CAT and XAT, um, they will get the interview call, CTPI call, and yes, getting a CTPI call does not guarantee you a seat in any of the campuses. Okay, it is just a call. So according to the way you give your CTPI or the interviews that go, you will then be intimated, because we basically send the offer letters depending upon a merit score that we calculate upon different parameters. So in the merit score, we look at your academic details, your test score, which is CAT, XAT, or GMAT, your work experience, and your CTPI scores. So all of them would be clubbed together and a merit score will be generated. So depending upon that merit score, you will get the offer letters.
And we don't have any sectional cutoffs. Uh,
No, we don't have. We don't have.
uh, there's a question about what are the documents that they need to carry. If Aniket or so any of you can just briefly, anyway, we will have the list when we send the call letter. The mail will comprise of the documents that they need to carry. But still, if you can answer this.
But then the students, they have already, attended those CTPI last year, so it is appropriate for them to answer. Yeah.
Haha.
Yeah, to answer this question, as Angela ma'am already noted that it will be conveyed through a mail. But just to reiterate, we have to carry our 10th, 12th standard and our graduation certificates, the Xerox copies. We usually notice that we do not carry the identity proof we mentioned in the form. So basically, whatever preference we give as our identity card, be it our Aadhaar card or PAN card, we are supposed to take it along with us as well.
Okay.
Another.
No, okay. Just to add to it, uh, it would be it would be safe to carry both original and the photocopy with you guys. Okay, and carry all the personal identification cards with you. Either it might be Aadhaar, PAN, your driving license, whatever it is. You carry everything, because I know as a student, when you are, I think the three students students who are there, they would also second me that when you are filling up the application, you are in so much hurry and anxiety that whatever is available with you at that particular time, whatever personal identification card that is available with you, you fill it up. But later you forget what you have filled up, whether you filled a PAN card or Aadhaar or driving license, you don't know. And at the center, when we verify, we would always ask you for the personal identification card that you actually filled at the time of application. So that is why I would suggest, to be on the safe side, carry all your personal ID cards with you, so that even if you have forgotten what you have given the details, the at the time the verifiers would ask you about a particular personal ID card, you can basically show it to them.
There are a lot of questions about GMAT, and what is the score required for GMAT, and um, can can you please address this?
Okay, for GMAT, the cutoff is 615 for Hyderabad, 605 for Nagpur, and 6 650 for Ghaziabad, right? So, and these are only, as I told you, you will get the call letters on these particular scores and not the cutoffs. I'm not talking about the cutoffs. It is just the score. So if you have scored more than 605, you will get the call for CTPI.
There are some questions about CMAT as well, if you can clarify that.
Okay, so as I already mentioned in my presentation, that CMAT 2025, only one IMT campus accepts it, and that is Nagpur. So IMT Nagpur is accepting CMAT 2025. And regarding cutoffs, anything that that is above 95 percentile, you will get a CTPI call for CMAT 2025 for only Nagpur campus.
There is one more question. The students are asking if their 6 month work ex be considered as a work experience. Can you please clarify?
Okay, I would rather ask Vinay sir to address this. So, sir, does it really matter if they have 6 months, 1 year, or 3 years work ex?
So as far as the rubrics that we have for the personal interview, what matters is what you've got, what you've learned from the experience. So 6 months, if you've done a 3 month internship, 6 months, all of this is considered only if you are able to speak about that particular experience. However, I think in the final calculation of merit score, I am not sure if a 6 month experience will count, uh, uh, because
Okay.
there is, yeah.
Yeah. So, in terms of merit score, calculation of merit scores, I think anything less than 1 year or anything more than 5 years would not go with you. So it'll go against you. But nonetheless, as Vinay sir rightly spoke about, whether you have 6 months or 1 year or 3 years of experience, what really matters is what you've learned out of it. Because tomorrow, when you sit for interviews, your the amount of work X is not that relevant, rather than what you've learned out of it. So they would rather look at, anyone having say 3 years of work X might not be selected for the interview, after the interview, in the placements, but say a 1 year work X guy might have been selected. That all depends on what is your learning out of it, as Vanessa rightly said.
Yeah, so as Aniket put it a few minutes back, so it's not just knowledge of the role that you have undertaken in that company, but what business the company is in. What was the relevance of your role in the overall business? That's the what is the entire business process? What was the role that you played in the business process? What market is that company in? What is the strategy that company is following? Who are the top management people in that particular company? So all of these matter uh, beyond these technical numbers, or whether it's 6 months, hai, say 8 months. All of these don't matter.
Sir, we have another question. A candidate asks, I am a fresher and have never had any interview before this. How should I prepare for the CTPI?
Lovely. So we do encounter a lot of freshers it is literally their first interview. That so first thing is, do not at all for one moment be intimidated by the interviewers. There is no We are not going to bite you. We are not going to eat you. It's going to be a conversation in which we are trying to assess your fitment into the program, right? So the approach is for you to provide as much information as you can to the interviewers about yourself and your strengths and your weaknesses, and why you believe you're fit for you know the business school, right? Why you're fit for the PGDM programs. If the approach is so the approach of, at least with IMT PI process, is not to grill you and stress you out, and we are not here to prove a point again that you are not good or whatever. We are here to understand your abilities, your strengths, your weaknesses, and to ascertain whether in the 2 years time you will be we whether we will be able to groom you to get to a point where we can really put you in front of a company and ask them to recruit you, right? So we are always assessing how placeable you are, how whether you could be sharpened, groomed, so that you have a career, right? So that is the broad approach you should take as a fresher, and really think about, introspect about why you want to do this program at all. Is it just uh, is the I mean, what is it that you currently do not possess that you believe the program will add to you, that will really make you uh, you know make you eligible for a professional career? And that's what you should focus on. Yeah, focus on yourself and try to present your best self in the interview. That's what I would say. A lot of self-assessment has to go in as you prepare for the interview. And I think that is the way, whether you're a fresher or an experienced candidate, doesn't matter. What matters is how well you know yourself and how well you're able to present yourself. So that's what I would say to anyone who is trying to prepare for this particular personal interview process.
To add to Sir, basically, if you're a fresher or a person with work ex, please be honest, 100% honest, because see, the panelists out there have maybe interviewed for years and maybe interviewed thousands of candidates. Okay, so they can know through various questions asking you, they would know whether you're bluffing or you basically have done it. So be very honest. Whatever you have done might be might go with you. So you basically tell them honestly that this is what you've done, and this is the time that you had, and this is what you could do in this time. That's it. So your honesty would pay you much better than just bluffing and pausing at one of the question where you have no idea what to say. So that would be one of the suggestion that I would rather want to give you.
We have a few questions. Like students are asking if they take another year to prepare for the CAT examination or any other like GMAT or any other exam, will that gap year affect them? when they are prepared, if they take a year to prepare? That is one question. And another overlapping question is, what is the situation with gap years? Like, do we have any criteria for gap years? And there are questions like, students have been preparing for UPSC, so will UPSC gap years be considered? Uh, can you answer this?
Okay. See, there's a typical case with the students where the gap just happens. I mean, that is not in their control. But they should also understand from the institute's point of view that nowadays, whatever company comes in for recruitment, they absolutely don't entertain the long gaps, whether it is due to UPSC or whether it is due to medical or something else. So we as an IMT would we also look at the gaps. But yes, if you have 1 year or less than 1 year gap, and if you can justify it, nothing like it. But if you have more than 1 year gap, that might go against you while in terms of merit scores. Yes.
Sir, we have another question which says, I am a non-business background student. How do I stand out from the crowd during the CTPI? And what are the chances of me being selected at IMT?
So
You have already stood out by saying you're a non-business background student. We are yearning to have people who do not have, who are not engineers or who are of BCom background, right? So anybody who is other backgrounds will really add to our campus diversity. So most welcome. We'd be really interested to know about how you are justifying your case, as in why you believe now taking a plunge into into business education from whatever geography, or you've done microbiology or something like that, how you are taking a plunge from that to business. So the justification is what we are looking at. But if you've done psychology major or something like that, we would be really excited to have a conversation with you. And that does add to the diversity of the class. So we're very interested to have people with diverse backgrounds.
We have another question. This girl is saying that she's an international gymnast, and will this help her somehow in getting selected? If we can address this along with the questions for profile-based selection, it would be great.
okay, yes, I was looking for such questions, of course. Thanks for coming up with this question. See, earlier as an IMT group, we used to look at the profile-based, profiles, but from this year, it is being integrated into CTPI itself. There is a component during personal interview. There's a component called versatility. So we would look at the student, how versatile that student is in terms of the extra and co-curricular activities. It might be they might be representing the country in sports, or they might have done something fantastic. They have a certificate from the institute where they've done their graduation. So whatever it is, it'll be counted in your PI score itself. Okay, so there is no separate entity called profile based selection. Yes. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. There are
Yeah,
some more
but
questions.
yeah, one more thing which I want to add. But yes, having these kind of skills would, the student would have an advantage, an extra advantage in PI to get extra scores, of course. Yeah, you're on mute, Angela.
Sir, there are questions like, can a gap be justified by certifications?
Uh, See, as I told you, it's not about whether you justify the gaps or not. It's about we also being answerable as an institute to our recruiters. Okay, so recruiters have their own criterias, their own things. So uh, see, for one or two recruiters, if we take the people who have justification of gaps, but then those if they don't get through those companies, then other companies might not take them. So that is one of the disadvantage that the people have with gap years, with more than 1 year gap year, even though they have the justification. So it is better to have some certification. For example, if you have done your masters after graduation, yeah, that won't be considered as a gap year. But other than that, yes, it'll have a say in your merit score.
Um, so someone is asking whether recommendation letters work as some bonus point.
No, no, absolutely not. We as a IMT group do not have a management quota or a recommendation quota or something like that. We strictly, you know, avoid these things because we have a policy as an institute to be very transparent to the meritorious students, to be always see to it that only the student who gets through our IMT campuses gets through the merit and nothing else.
So there are some questions about how you would define a long gap because you use the term long gap, and
Hmm.
what would be called a short gap.
I already mentioned while while talking about the gap, anything more than 1 year or at max 2 years gap will be considered as a long gap. Anything more than 1 year or 2 years.
And finally, the most important question which most people are asking is topics for CTPI. What are the model topics for CTPI?
Okay, so for CT topics, I think as professors, we should not talk about it because it is the students who face those topics in CT, so they should speak out. So if all three of you, one by one, can share your experience of CT and what kind of questions you faced, it will be, I guess, helpful for the audience.
Yes, sure, sir. So my CTPI process was very smooth. My center was IMT Ghaziabad. So the question that was given to me for the CT process was, do MBA colleges should produce business leaders like entrepreneurs or employers, managers? So basically, it was an analytical question, and we have to point out our perspectives and different opinions if we support this idea or that idea. So yes, we got 30 minutes for it and to write for this topic. And then I was taken for the interview to my panelist that was allotted to me. And during my interview, I was asked about my gap year. Of course, I had a gap year. I had gap year for NEET. Actually, I dropped for NEET preparation and I justified it. So it was nothing sort of a problem for me there. And of course, I am from a diverse background. So, and here I am in IMT Hyderabad. So, yes, and then also they asked about some behavioral questions or about the economy, the current affairs. Recently, there was budget is also coming right on 1st Feb. So, overall, the holistic knowledge that a candidate should have about our economy, country, what is happening around us. So, yes, basically all these. Thank
Yeah, so my CTPI, it was held in Mumbai. I was in the afternoon slot. We basically have two slots. I guess we skipped mentioning it, the morning slot and the afternoon slot. So it's pre-lunch where we are taken for CT. So my CT topic was basically how has the globalization and the liberalization changed the economy of India? And was it like a positive effect overall or a negative effect? If you feel that it had both, you have to justify the both. So yeah, again, it was a 30 minutes VAT like written test. And post that we had lunch and then we were taken for personal interviews. I had a panel with two members, and I'm a fresher, a BCom graduate, who has cleared CA intermediate, like both the groups in the first go. So the most of my questions were asked on the same, that if you cleared it in one go, then why are you planning to leave it and pursue business studies? Also, I had a 3 months experience at Amazon, so I was asked mainly about this. And yes, about some basics which I studied in BCom and as a commerce student 11, 12. So yeah, that was all about my CTPI.
So coming to my CTPI experience, it was really interesting, to be honest. As far as the CT goes, our topic was, there was a lot of news at that time regarding the inauguration of Ram Mandir. So our topic was about the inauguration of Ram Mandir and how will it help or have effects on the current political parties in that particular area and the opposing parties as well. And the most interesting thing was when I went for my personal interview, considering I had WorkX with one of the most leading MNCs in India, uh, I had to relate with how is my employer going to benefit after the inaugural of Ram Mandir in that particular area. So it's really important to connect your city topic along with your personal interview, especially if you're having a work ex, because interviewers will be very easily able to connect between those two and look at your perspective on this, right? So do try to connect between the CT and the PI and come up with really great answers, really logical answers, if not exact by numbers, but depending on what your employer, which industry they are in, how can they benefit from the any of the current affairs out there.
Okay, Vinay sir, anything to add that you can, suggest them what kind of CT questions that they can expect?
Yeah, so please expect very quirky, very offbeat, very counterintuitive CT topics. They are not going to be routine topics. These are going to be, really push the boundaries of your imagination. And I mean, they are sourced from all the faculty members from across the campuses. And we, ensure that the topics are interesting for both the students and for us. So essentially, in terms of preparation, uh, the same preparation that you undergo for your personal interview, just be abreast with the current affairs, be able to speak about the economy in whatever way. So and if you are able to, if you develop the an assimilating mindset where you are able to bring in two different concepts and merge them together, right? Like Aniket said, you have your work ex, you have your company, and then you suddenly take this topic and then try to reconcile that particular topic in the context of the business of the experience that you have. That would definitely help. So that's something that you should keep in mind in terms of topics. Really, nobody knows until the day they actually are given out. We can't really put a description of what type of topics are going to come or what sample topics are there, because they could really vary. I mean, within the three people here, you see this huge variation in the topics that came out, right? So that is how it's going to be.
Yeah,
I,
one thing.
uh,
Sorry,
yes, ma'am.
Angela, one thing I think skipped or missed to say, that your CT that you write, the papers are with the panelists. Okay, so they would be evaluating during your interviews. So don't think that I can write anything on the CT paper and get away with it, because that will, of course, if you have written something interesting out there or something controversial out there, you will definitely be asked in the interview. So so be prepared to defend whatever you've written, in the CT itself, right? Thank you, sir.
I think Sai has one last question before we wrap up because we are out of time. Yes, Sai, what is it?
Yeah, so from a lot many questions in this side, I try to frame it in one go. The question says that I am a self-employed person, like I have a family business. So is it to be considered a work experience, and what perks can it give to me during the CTPI?
Okay. So any type of work X, whether it is your work X through your family business or your family enterprise, or through a startup, or a big MNC, it will of course have a good weightage in your PI, while you are giving your PI, because invariably the panelist would ask you on your workx itself. But when it comes to whether it'll carry any weightage kind of thing, um, yes. uh, if if I talk about workx in your family firm, or the company where the founder of that company is related to you, then that experience for your merit score won't be considered. But yeah, in your PI you can talk about it. That will of course have a good edge for you for scoring in PI, if not in your workx category. Clear? So is that it, Angela?
Yes, sir. I think we're done. I think most of the questions have been answered, and there are some repetitive questions. I think they've missed out on the first half of the webinar. We can wrap up, and if there are any more questions, then the students can write to the admissions email ID, admissions@imthyderabad.edu.in, and we will try our best to answer all of you.
Okay, thank you, audience. Thanks for your patient hearing, and I guess most of your queries have been answered. But as I told you, if you have any query that you have, you can approach the admissions office in Ghaziabad, Hyderabad, or Nagpur. We would be happy to address your queries. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
And all the very best for your admissions process, for your CTPI. Looking forward to meeting all of you during the interviews. All the very best. Thank you.
All the best. Take care.